NIM App Tutorial, Part 2, Steps 6 through 10. So far, all the items we've added to this form have been on a single row, whose column widths sum to 12, the maximum number of columns in a row. In this step, we'll add a couple more rows to our form. Go to the Items tab. Notice that the first row doesn't have any remaining green drop zones. However, the entire second row does. We'll drag and drop a separator, a horizontal rule, onto this row. It spans the entire width of the row, and so the drop zone now moves down to the third row. In the third row, we'll drag and drop another static text item and set its properties as follows. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. So far, we've only added read-only items to our form. In this step, we'll introduce items that collect data from the user, and then we'll store that data in variables. Variables are, in a sense, the engine of NIM apps. They let us store state and get data where it needs to be. We'll add 3 input text items to our form in consecutive rows. And set each item's column width to 6. We'll set the properties of the first input text item as follows. We'll set the properties of the second input text item as follows. We'll set the properties of the third input text item as follows. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. In this step, we'll finish adding items to our first form. Drag and drop a static text item beneath the 3 input text items. Set its properties as follows. Next, drag and drop 2 drop-down items on consecutive rows. Set the properties of the first drop-down as follows. Set the properties of the second drop-down as follows. Drag and drop an input text element beneath the drop-downs and set its properties as follows. Drag and drop a button element beneath the input text and set its properties as follows. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. Before we can make our next button go to the next form in the app, we need to create that form. In this step, we'll do so. In the left sidebar, go to the Forms tab. For the main form, click Copy Form. We'll copy this form instead of creating a brand new one because we want to reuse its header. A form named Main01 is created. Click it to load it in the App Designer. For the Main01 form, click Rename Form and rename it to Name Generation. Delete all the items below the separator by clicking each one and pressing Delete on your keyboard. We're left with just the header. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. In this step, we'll make the next button on the main form navigate to the Name Generation form. Go back to the main form and select the Next button. Go to the Actions tab. Click Add. In the Form Action dialog box, set the following options. Action type, navigate to Form. Mode, Form. Form name, Name Generation. Click Save. The Navigate to Form action is now listed in the Actions tab for the Next button. We'll click Save to save our progress so far. Join us in the next video for Part 3.